Hey, it's Matt Roush.
And Mike Brennan.
And we're back with another segment of the M² Tech Cast with a longtime guest of our program. Going back pretty much to the very beginning now, 5 years ago, it's Kathleen Norton-Schock, and she's going to tell us about her two of her passions, the Michigan Council of Women in Technology, and also her podcast, Diva Tech Talk. So, Kathleen, go ahead and start with whichever one you'd like to start with first.
Okay, thanks, guys. Good to see you. Happy New Year. Last time I
Thanks.
saw you was the last week of November, I believe.
Yeah.
So hope you had fabulous holidays. And thanks so much for having me again. First, let's get started with Diva Tech Talk, because the last time I always reverse the order if I can. Diva Tech Talk published its Diva Tech Talk to be found at www.diva, D-I-V-A, Tech, T-E-C-H, talk, T-A-L-K.com. Is a 5-year passion project of mine and Nicole Scheffler's. Nicole is a director of strategy at Cisco. And it's all about telling the stories of women in tech to inspire other women to join the field and girls to pursue the field, and women who are thinking about leaving to consider potentially not leaving, because that is, in fact, and continues to be an issue. We have some recidivism that we'd like to fix. So having said that, Diva Tech Talk published its 100th podcast the second week of January. And I was the host of this particular one. Very exciting for me because I had the opportunity to interview the CEO of Star to Star Communications, which is a little less than a decade old. It is a global voice over IP telecommunications venture that for 6 years running has received recognition by Gartner. And I'm sure everyone in the tech industry knows who Gartner Group is. It's the behemoth of certification of leadership, if you will, and a long-time market research company in tech, among other things. And Star to Star offers proprietary hybrid unified voice and data communications in the cloud. And they've been recognized 6 times, as I said, by Gartner. And my podcastee is a woman by the name of Michelle Accardi, who is the president and chief revenue officer of Star to Star. And Michelle herself has been recognized 7 times by CRN, which is Computer Reseller Network. It's a big publisher. I'm sure you guys are familiar with it, for being a leader among women, particularly in companies that sell through the channel. And the other reason it was exciting to me is that Michelle happens to be a longtime friend and acquaintance of mine of about 15 years. And so to a certain extent, I've watched her grow up. She, by the way, besides being president of this very successful company, she's also the mother of 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 children.
Oh my God.
So don't tell me women can't multitask. Star to Star happens to be based in Sarasota, Florida, but in fact has a global client base and continues to grow exponentially every year. But what was very cool about this particular podcast is that Michelle took us through her journey. I mean, back in her early 20s, after she graduated from college early, she thought she was going to become a Broadway star and moved to New York and discovered it was impossible to live in New York while you were waiting tables, right? And trying to break into Broadway. So she just happened to karmically work at a company that eventually was taken over by one of my alma maters, CA, and just went straight up the ladder there. I mean, I watched her and worked with her a number of times, but as I pointed out in my podcast, she has an indefatigable energy, and it came out in our interview. And she also is probably one of the most down-to-earth people I've ever met in my life. And so we talked a lot. It was about a 40-minute podcast. So again, anybody who wants to go to divatechtalk.com can hear that. And it was very much fun. And then our 101st podcast will be coming out in about 2 weeks, the second Tuesday of February. And Nicole will be interviewing a woman by the name of Catherine Tabor, who is the CEO of Sparkfly. Sparkfly, I believe it's based in Silicon Valley, although I'm not totally sure of this. But it's a turnkey patent-protected technology platform that connects both digital and physical marketing in real time. So literally, if you are a client, you can see to the second what your customers are doing and kind of put the whole thing together. And Nicole, being the engineer that she is, besides talking to Catherine about her own journey, how she got started, where she's going, will be delving into the technology behind this and exactly how it works. Now, I don't believe they're a privately held company, so they haven't IPO'd yet, even in a SPAC, even though this is supposed to be last year and now this year it's going to be the world of SPACs. But I'm sure Nicole will also dive into how they're generating revenue today and what their future plan is. So we're excited about both of those. And probably in March, if I'm back on, I can talk to you guys about the rest of our plans for the year, because Diva Tech Talk is doing some pretty interesting things. But again, following our focused mission, which again is very close to my heart, as you know, which is encouraging women to continue to pursue tech in every way, shape, or form. And to that end, then I'll just segue right into my favorite philanthropy of 17 years, the Michigan Council of Women in Technology. And Becky Price, who heads marketing. I used to head marketing, but I've always backed up Becky, and Becky always backed me up. And now she's been heading marketing for almost a decade there. She and I had a meeting last week with our newly constituted marketing team. And the coolest thing to us is that we now have 2 high schoolers on our team. In other words, we have me, the baby boomer, we have Becky, the millennial, we have a whole bunch of people who are in their 20s, 30s, and 40s. And now we have 2 17-year-olds who came up with the coolest ideas and are very dedicated to our mission, which was the first time in our marketing team's history. We honestly had folks that were that much younger than we were, who were planning to help us this year by volunteering. And this year is going to be a very exciting year. At the end of next week, Mike, and maybe Matt too, but certainly Mike, you'll be getting a press release about the formal announcement of our leadership change. Every year, as our volunteer president moves on and we get a new president. And usually it was the vice president of the previous year. And again, it is that person again, Jennifer Charters, who is a CIO at one of our major banks. And if anybody wants to know more about Jennifer's journey, you can go to www.divatechtalk.com, because I happened to do a podcast with her 2.5 years ago. But those podcasts are timeless and can be found. And then the other exciting news is our new vice president, who will then succeed to the presidency if we keep doing what we always do, is Rajani Sinha, who is also a friend of mine. And this is just coincidence, to be honest with you. But Rajani is an executive at a company called Stellantis. And for those of you who don't know who Stellantis is, it used to be Chrysler. So as you
that's right.
know,
Yeah, the strange name. That's right.
This past weekend was the official announcement. It was last week, was the official announcement of Stellantis. And another friend of mine is the global CIO of Stellantis, Mcwt Scholarships. And we just happened to have a casual talk yesterday about the source of the name. So when you see that press release, hopefully we'll put it parenthetically that it's FCA Chrysler that Rajani comes from. But Rajani has been a long-time advisory board member for us. She's been very, very active in a number of things, as had Jennifer before her. So these are 2 women with a lot of experience in what MCWT does. Then we have a whole bunch of other announcements. MCWT, we talk about energy, right? I mean, we all have it there. So we'll also be announcing, and Mike, I think the press release will be coming to you tomorrow. We have our annual Woman of the Year in Technology contest that goes on every year, where we recognize a woman in our region who is a leader in some way, shape, or form, a woman who embodies our mission of inspiring and growing women in tech. And the woman often can be the leader or have been the prior leader of some kind of positive change for women working, teaching, or even studying IT and computer-related technologies. The deadline for anybody who wants to nominate a woman leader is March 9th, 2021. And the application can be found on our website, www.mcwt.org. Recipients do not need to be members or partners with MCWT. It can be anyone. And we've often had people who'd never heard of MCWT, but who had been nominated. Like several years ago, we got a woman who's doing amazing things in entrepreneurship at University of Michigan. And when she saw she was nominated, she's like, what is this MCWT thing? So we educated her after she won. And she's become a member since. but prior to that, she hadn't been. So if you know people at LTU, Matt, if you know people, Mike, you know a million people. So anybody you want to nominate, again,
Sure,
the
absolutely.
March 9th is the deadline. We have a
Yeah,
few
and
other things.
go ahead and send me those releases too, Kathleen, because I can put them up on techcentury.com. That's
Okay, I think you're on. Oh, by the way, we have a new person, a paid person. You know, we finally started to pay people, right? And so we have, we've paid our executive director for 5 years, and hopefully we'll have Chris Rzuski for another 2 decades, in my opinion. She's doing a great job as our executive director. But we also have a new woman by the name of Staria Coppins, who is relatively young, very entrepreneurial, who has taken on leadership of some of our marketing. So I'm working closely with her. So I'll make sure you both are on that press release. And then MCWT scholarships, as you know, we award at least 20 scholarships to college age and graduate school age women. And our scholarship applications have been in process. I've announced them a few times on your sessions, but our deadline comes up quickly. That is January 31st. If you would like to, if you are a college age woman or a high school woman who wants to go and again, study technology of any kind at a Michigan university, you are eligible. So I would suggest that people think about it. As I've mentioned many times in your sessions, we've given close to $1.5 million worth of scholarships, and we don't intend to stop soon. So every year we do about 20 of them, and then we have the revolving ones from the previous years coming through. And then we are also doing our lunch and learn sessions again. They were very successful last year. So the next one coming up is February 4th, and it is called Scaling Agile. Have we figured it out yet? I don't know about you, but I've been talking about Agile programming for easily 20 years. I mean, way back when I was president of Telecorp, we had Agile programmers on staff.
Well, Agile manufacturing has been big for, 25 years or so, right?
Right. So actually, we're going to have Andrea Sudara, who is the Chief Information Officer of Altair, speaking of manufacturing, and Nada Jiddu, who is Director at Ford Motor Company, as 2 of our panelists, and also the CIO from Little Caesars. So they don't do manufacturing, but she is their CIO and is managing all of their technology infrastructure and technology activities. And I did a podcast with Jennifer Path, a few years back when she was at Domino's, and she literally was characterizing Domino's as a technology company that happened to dabble in pizza. Well, of course, we all know Little Caesars is in many ways the backbone of one of the companies that is a backbone of downtown Detroit. And I'm sure Anita Klopfenstein, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, Klopfenstein, who is their CIO, will be talking about what it does to adopt and scale Agile. So it really does benefit your overall community and, of course, the company for whom you work.
We're going to have to, we're running low on time. We're going to get down to, you need to, if you got one more item, go ahead and throw it in.
Okay. Well, Girls Solve IT, which is a Ford-sponsored program for MCWT, it's a virtual statewide robotics competition in girls in grades 4th through 8th. And that is continuing, and all of the teams can again register to be sponsored by us and Ford. And that registration is open until January 31st as well. And our website for all MCWT activities and programs is www.mcwt.org.
All right. Thanks very much, Kathleen Norton-Schock from Diva Tech Talk and the Michigan Council of Women in Technology. We'll be back in just a moment with another segment of the M-Squared TechCast. For right now, it's Matt Roush.
And Mike Brennan.
And you're watching MITechNews.TV, podcastdetroit.com.
Traditional four-year students love Lawrence Technological University's thriving campus life, but LTU has always met non-traditional students' needs too. Lawrence Tech offers over 100 degree and certificate programs that can get adult students started or back on track. And most of our classes are conveniently offered evenings at our beautiful Southfield campus or online, so you can balance your social, family, and work life even while you power up your career. Lawrence Tech, where Blue Devils dare.